How safe is it to have a water birth at home? If you yourself had a home birth or a water birth, pop in the comments below your experience. So in terms of safety, this depends on your own medical, your own pregnancy and your previous obstetric history. That's why at the booking assessment with your midwife, we ask you hundreds of questions all about your own factors. For example, the outcomes for someone who's having their second, third, fourth plus time baby, who's had previous vaginal births, who's had no previous obstetric or medical complications, having a baby at home, then the outcomes are really good from the home birth and the birthplace study. In contrast, if someone has raised blood pressure, for example, obstetric cholestasis, if baby's not growing quite so well, for example, then the safety of having a water birth at home would be very different. And that's not because of the water birth, can I just point out? It's the difference between birthing at home and birthing in an obstetric unit. In an obstetric unit, more monitoring is recommended, usually for women who are advised to birth there. For example, continuous fetal monitoring. It could be that you need antibiotics for certain things, for example. It could be that you need medications for certain things, for example, like controlling blood pressure. And in terms of women who have no risk factors, who are otherwise classed as low risk, no, that never means no risk, but it means that the chances of having risks appear during that labour and birth process, particularly if it's straightforward and it's at home, are much lower. And in terms of what could go wrong at a water birth at home, if the midwife was noticing that things weren't quite going so well, they would ask you to step out of the pool much earlier, and they would have a discussion about whether transfer would be recommended or advised. And water births at home are done in an inflatable pool, just like this one here. So it's very easy that if you needed to, you can usually just pull the woman over the top of it. Yes, it does leave a big puddle if that is the case, if a woman is unable to exit the pool themselves. And me myself, when I was a student 15 years ago, got the opportunity to be at many home births who had pools during labour and birth, and it was so lovely to be part of. All the twinkly lights in their ceiling, the birthing pool that was topped up regularly, kept warm by their birthing partners. So I've had the opportunity to be part of some of the most amazing sort of labours at home. And if you are considering a water birth at home, join some local home birth Facebook group pages, some support pages that will really help. Reach out to a local birth worker or doula, for example, and have a conversation with your own community midwife about your own individual medical and obstetric and pregnancy history, and to see whether this is something that can be supported. Many areas do have home birth teams, and some of those teams can sometimes hire out birthing pools as well.